Hey, I'm Brandi Fullwood, and this is Seattle Eats. It's a podcast about the Seattle food scene and the best things to eat in it. Sleek, chic, and a little sexy, Seattle's tiny bars snuggle into the nooks and crannies of the city. But what are the chances these small places could actually make a bigger impact? Maybe fix the Seattle freeze, boost your dating life? Seattle Times food critic Tan Vinh loves a teeny tiny bar, and he's here to give his pitch for why they have a lot more to offer you than a good drink and a good time. Tan and I are going to talk about the best little bars around the city, and he'll share some cocktail recommendations that you should order while you're there. Let's get into it. Hey, Tan. It's so good to see you again.
So good to see you, Brandi.
I love this story of yours. I think it's very cute. Why do you love or have this affinity for tiny bars?
You know, what it is, Brandi, is I just took a month off from Spain. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I love about Spain, actually, the one thing I really love about Spain are the tiny bars in San Sebastian. Yeah. They're so intimate. San Sebastian is the epicenter for best food in the world. It's always in the running. But you know what? When you eat in San Sebastian, one of the joys that makes it so pleasurable is you're in tight quarters with other people. You don't feel like you're packed in like sardines. Yeah. It's just you get to know people. I went to literally more than 20 tiny bars, and I learned so much about where's the best place to get an espresso, where's the best place to get a steak. And I realized I've learned all this because I'm talking to people, which is something we don't do enough in Seattle because there's this thing called the Seattle freeze. And that's when it hit me. Voila. What is the perfect antidote to the Seattle freeze? What is the perfect solution to this? And it is the tiny bars. They make you talk to each other. You make small talk across the table. You know the bartender's first name. Yeah. It's impossible not to because you're in tight quarters.
And you also said it was a good second date spot.
It's the best second date spot.
Okay.
See, I'm single now, so I'm back out there, and I'm going to tell you, I take dates to tiny bars. Okay. It's great as a second date because there are no TVs and no loud music. And it's very intimate already in a tight setting, and I get to know the person next to me. Because I think for a first date, it's better to be in a large, loud bar because you don't know the other person. I could be a psycho. My date doesn't know who I am. So it's safe to have other people, to have other distraction and conversation starter. But on a second date, it's perfect to get to know someone.
Yeah. I am a little past my second date era with my partner. What's your pitch for tiny bars if you don't need it to break the Seattle freeze or you don't need it for a second date?
Brandi, I have a third reason why tiny bars are great, especially in Seattle. Tiny bars are limited in real estate. They don't have a lot of shelf space to hold booze or whatever. So to get around that, most tiny bars have a really tight focus on what they serve, whether it's terroir or spirits. There is a great tiny bar in Rainier Beach called Rosetta, and they just focus on mocktails and low alcoholic drinks. There is a great basement bar in Fremont that focuses just on mead, honey wine. We have a great New Orleans themed bar that just focuses on New Orleans classic like a Sazerac and Vieux Carré. So there is this shared conversation starter.
Okay, so it's kind of like by curation, by design, tiny bars prompt conversation and intimacy for the better.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the first one on your list, which you said is the epitome of a tiny bar in the region. Daphne, tell us where it is, maybe how big it is, and the overall vibe.
For those who don't know, Daphne's is in downtown Edmonds. Daphne, to me, is the gold standard for a tiny bar.
Ooh.
It is not only a great tiny bar, it is one of the best bars in the North End. I would even characterize it as a great cocktail bar that just happens to be tiny. So like the size of a one-car garage.
Okay.
And the motif is Parisian. The theme is Paris. It's like the guy went to a couple of antique shops or junkyard and had all these signs in French and so forth. But it is done with a Japanese sensibility, the efficient use of space. You can fit in this tiny bar 17 people. because it's so beautifully designed in the way the space is used. There's a tiny curved or L-shaped bar, and there are other spaces behind there. So it's fully occupied, just great craft cocktails.
Yeah. Do you have a minimum and a maximum for a tiny bar? Like you're like at a certain point, you're like, okay, this is bigger than a studio apartment. It's not a tiny bar.
Yeah. I would say roughly it's around 160 square feet to under 500 square feet.
Okay.
Give or take 1 inch or 2.
All right. So a hard winter in Seattle apartment.
There you go.
I feel like tiny bars are prime for drinks in little coupes. What kind of drinks are on the menu at Daphne's?
They serve all the craft cocktail classics that you find at any craft cocktail bar on Capitol Hill or anywhere. Except I would say prices are $1 or $2 cheaper than Seattle, around $15.
Okay.
And these are boozy drinks. They take some time to compose. So that is a good deal.
Do you have favorites in there?
There's a drink there called the Trinidad Airlines, which is pretty much, and this is, now we're just geeking on cocktails.
Yeah,
but that is a hybrid of 2 of my favorite drinks. One is the Trinidad Sour, and 2, the Paper Plane. So it's a combination of those 2. It's like a rye drink that's kind of like a sour. So think of it as a very sophisticated whiskey sour.
Yeah.
Rye sour. It is fantastic. I highly recommend that drink.
How have we not drank together? Those are some of my favorite drinks.
Really? Well, we got to hit Daphne's.
We
got to hit Daphne's.
And they don't really have food, right?
They do have a plate. One of the things that tiny bars have done is they've taken a page out of tiny wine bars, and that is just charcuterie and cheese plate.
Yeah, like a warm brie and baguette, little jams.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what you see at most tiny bars. Because remember, what do we say about tiny bar? They don't have a lot of space, and they don't have a kitchen. So that's how you make do with a lot of these tiny bars.
It's like our overhead cost is 3 apples and 1 baguette. When you walk into a tiny bar, what do you look for to determine the quality? And I mean, like, maybe certain spirits or a house-made vermouth. Like, what are your quality control checkpoints at a bar?
I'm glad you asked that, because people should not look just on quantity. Look at quality. When I'm at a tiny bar, cocktails, I can tell that this is going to be good, or I can tell that the bartender know what he or she is doing. Because if when your rye is Overholt, then I know you know what you're doing. Overholt is a very good value rye that all bartenders use. If I see a mezcal bottle, I know that this is a craft cocktail place. And if I see that mezcal bottle is a Vida, V-I-D-A, I know that you know what you're doing, because Vida is a good value for mezcal.
Okay, so Daphne's in Edmonds kind of ticks all the boxes. Nice. Well, let's maybe stay up in the suburbs for your second place with a McMenamins tiny bar in Bothell.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk about this one, Brady. I am so excited.
Tell me about the principal's office.
Yes, this is the best hidden tiny bar in Puget Sound.
Ton for the people.
Yes, that's right. I was kind of bummed when I wrote this. Like, dang it. Now, everyone's going to know about this bar, and I'll never get a seat again. Because the problem with tiny bar is, it's tiny. There's not a lot of seats. So let me back up here.
Yeah.
So the principal office is located in a hotel called the Anderson School Hotel. And this, in his previous life, was a junior high in Bothell called the Anderson School.
Yeah.
And on the 3rd floor of this school is a principal's office. So I love McMenamins. They're all in. They've turned the school into a hotel.
Yeah.
And they kept the principal's office. And it's just a bar called the principal's office now.
Do you have to do something bad at McMenamins in order to be invited?
You're going to love this because, well, I bet you were a good student when you were little.
Oh, totally.
I was not a good student. I had a lot of those pink slip, detention slip.
Oh, no.
I had a lot of those pink slip. And I was kind of traumatized because I got handed one of these, like, detention slip when I was at the principal's office. Because it's really cheeky. They're all in the kitchen. They give you a detention slip. It says, report to the principal's office.
Oh, that's cute.
It's a white slip, but it's exactly the same. It's like just a reprinted pink slip.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they just hand you one.
But you don't have to knock over a vase or something.
No, you don't. Yeah. So I'm one of the 8 truants that you can fit into this bar. And they serve you drinks. And I would say that if you feel like claustrophobic because there's only 8 seats in this bar, you can drink in the hallway. You don't need a hall pass.
I'm so clever.
I know. I'm just amusing myself over here. I'll see my way out.
I do love this theme of McMenamins because the Kennedy School version in Portland, they have the detention room.
Yes.
Do you feel like you would rather go to the detention room or the principal's office?
I would go to the principal's office because now that I've seen how good the cocktails are in the principal's office, I don't want to go anywhere else. And this is back to what we mentioned earlier, like theme bars because they don't have a lot of space. There was one person who went to the principal's office and wanted an espresso martini.
Okay.
And the bartender politely declined, say, hey, I can't make you that because they don't have an espresso machine.
Okay.
It's a tiny bar. The theme of the principal's office is New Orleans classics. And the reason why is the bartender there is, I swear to you, his name is Michael Bourbon.
Okay.
That is his real name. And
with a connection to the liquor?
I asked him about, well, sort of, yes. I asked him about his last name. Is this one of those fake Hollywood names? Are you trying to be funny? He said, nope. He said that he's descended from the family that gave its name to Bourbon Street.
Okay.
He is from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Hence, his drink program at the principal's office are New Orleans drinks.
So he serves them in those yard glasses?
Not quite those. He specialized more in fancy, boozy cocktails like Sazerac and Vieux Carré.
Okay. This is also one of those examples of the bar so small you can get to know the bartender as well.
Yes. And you know what? One of the great characteristics of a bartender is they facilitate a conversation.
Yeah.
And in a bar that can only fit 8 people, he will. He's like, oh, hey, Brandi, this is Tan. Tan is from Central District. And the drink he's having is the Vieux Carré.
So he's like a host.
Yes.
That's really
literally,
nice.
It is. It is a show. You're right. He's a host.
Yeah.
It's a perfect third place.
He's the principal.
Yes. He's the principal.
So this is a McMenamins location, so I have to ask, you see any ghosts?
I know why people... I did not see any ghosts, but it is an antique hotel, quote, really old hotel, so it's creaky. I hear sounds, I hear pipes, but I don't relate that to ghosts. I was like, this is just no building, dude. This is my thing. When people say antique hotels, for me, that's just code for this is run down, man. The room is going to suck. There's a leak,
and that's the ghost. Well, if there's no ghost, but McMenamins is also known for its affordable prices. What are the prices like at the principal's office?
Cocktails around $15-16.
Okay.
And again, I would say that's cheap compared to Seattle.
Who would you say that to?
No, and the reason why is because if you had New Orleans classic like a Sazerac or Vieux Carré, these are boozy drinks.
Yeah.
And so a Sazerac and Vieux Carré in Seattle will run around $18 to $21.
Okay. I love you waking up at McMenamins. That's my favorite thing.
And I gotta tell you, I'm not a fan of McMenamins because I think it's kind of forced, but I love the principal's office.
Yeah.
I love the principal.
So you don't have a passport.
I don't.
You basically pay, I think, like $15 to do an assortment of activities at the 60-something McMenamins around the region, and they give you stamps. And by the time you fill out the whole thing, which you can get like free concert tickets, free hotel stays, etc. But I guess you can get a stamp at the principal's office.
Yes, you can. And that's what most people do. They go to the principal's office to get stamped.
Yeah. Let's head into the city and the mix of things. This next tiny bar is in Pioneer Square, and she's new on the scene as of the summer, and that's Doris on 3rd Ave, which is in the old Salumi spot. It's kind of a tiny hallway with very little design. It's a little different from the other places you mentioned. There's no counter bar to sit at, but there are several tables. What do you like about Doris?
I love this bar because it says so much about our culture and our drinking culture. If you know anything about new hot bars and hot restaurant branding, you know it's usually packed. Well, at Doris, it's a shoebox dimension bar, and it can fit 18 people sitting down. And its tables to kind of squish in. But behind the table is a standing rail.
Yeah.
And this is a very European thing where you stand and you drink. Guess what? When I first went to Doris, all the tables were packed. And people came behind me. They saw all the tables were packed. What do you think they did? They just turned around and left to go to another bar.
Yeah. Can I restore some hope? Because I went to Doris during Art Walk, We walked up maybe at the top of the evening, like 5, 6 o'clock, put our names down, went to a few galleries, came back a few hours later and it was open. And there were tons of people who were just willing to stand and sit because they want to be able to leave quickly and they want to be able to go to galleries. We squeezed in to a 2-top table, like 3, 4 of us, because we were just down to do that. But it did seem like people who had a more casual desire for the night would go to the rail, would just squeeze in no matter what the time was. Yeah. So I wonder about that too, how Art Walk changes the crowd.
Yes, that's a good example.
Do you opt for rail? Because personally, I'm not doing that. I love back support.
You know what? I don't. But ever since I spent a month in Spain, I love standing rail. Okay. Because you get to meet other people. It just seems more informal, more relaxed, right?
I can get behind it for other people. So let's say for me and my squad, or maybe people on rail, you do get a spot in Doris. I really liked their drinks. I know that I'm a fan of the Amaro Daiquiri. You're a fan of the Amaro Daiquiri. Yeah. And I haven't stopped talking about it this summer because it's like, it's icy and juicy, and then the bitters made it feel more sophisticated. What did you think of their menu?
I think they have a lot of nice riff on the classic, like on martinis, and like you mentioned, the daiquiri. And I would also add that unlike most tiny bars, they have a kitchen. They inherited the kitchen from Salumi. Yeah. So they actually serve decent food, like smoked beef, and they make their own fries. And that's unusual for tiny bars, because tiny bars, it's just charcuterie and cheese plate. Yeah. And if you're lucky, there might be a panini press, and you have a hot panini press sandwich. Yeah. So Doris is different in the sense that they actually have a kitchen. And it's an unusual menu, right? The smoked beef with pickled mustard seeds and horseradish, it is delicious. Yeah. Smoked beef is not served at a lot of restaurants. I'm pleasantly surprised. Like, tiny bar, wait a minute, you have an ambitious food program? Wow, that's great.
I did have the smoked beef, and the thing I liked is just inserting a little fry on the end and rolling it up. Yeah. And just popping it like a little smoked beef lollipop.
Yeah. And I love the horseradish. I like that little zing.
Yeah, put it inside. The little roll up.
There you go.
Well, Tan, you have several more tiny bars. It's a large list of tiny bars that you have more of them on the Seattle Times. Yes. So people should check out the rest of it.
Yes. Check out my list. Check out the honorable mention and hit a tiny bar.
Yeah.
Talk to people next to you. Take advantage of the standing rail.
Tan Vinh is a food critic for the Seattle Times. You can find more of his tiny bar recommendations with a link in the show notes. Thanks, Tan.
Thanks for having me, Brandi.
That is it for today. Seattle Eats is hosted by me, Brandi Fullwood, and you can get in touch with me at seattleeats@kuow.org. If there's something on your mind, maybe a little tiny bar that you like to go to, or a pitch for your go-to spot for soup or something, we have a voicemail box set up for you to call us at 206-543-8510. If you call that number and leave a voicemail, I might just put it in the show. The show is produced by me and edited by Jim Gates. Seattle Eats is a proud member of the NPR network. You can find more ways to support the show with a link in the show notes. If you like the show, give us a rating. Preferably, a good one. All right, talk soon.